very good evening to all of you. All of you doing great? No. Yes? Okay. So it's that we are left with one part of discussion. That is, there is something called flat file model and relational model. That is what is the last concept which we have to discuss. After which I'll be solving hacker rank questions. Okay. Because that is where you will get the complete idea on how really the things are, or how you implement the real scenarios with respect to how the requirements comes, all of these things. So we'll be seeing all of those things. Okay. So quickly let me tell, it is very simple. The relational model and the flat file model. So one part happens to be flat file. The other one is relational model. So flat file model and relational model. What is this flat file model? Dear students, keep this in mind. Even though, whatever the data we have, we can store it. We can store the data in the files also, as well as we can store the data in the tables also. Okay, ma'am, where do we store it as file? Say suppose you are storing some data in the Excel sheet, or you are storing data in the Word or in the Notepad. All of these data, whatever you are storing, see, maybe whatever in a table, I'll create one student table and I'll probably store all your names, everything, all of your details. The same data, don't you think I can store it in the Excel also? I can store it in a Word file. I can store it in a probably Notepad, everywhere. But there, when you save, how do you save it? You save it as a file. How do you save it? It will be saved as file. But coming to the relational model, the data that you are saving will be saved as tables. Are you all getting it? In the flat file model, we save the data. We save the data in file format. Here, you save the data in table format. Here you save it in table format. And not only that, be it any data that you are going to store, it will be always present as what? It will be always present as files itself. Keep that in mind. It will be stored as files. But here, whatever the data that we store, it will be in the tables. Here it will be in the tables. And one important thing which you have to be understanding in this is, dear students, it is that, okay, in the relational model, it is possible, or we can have relationship between the tables. Yes, we can have relationship between the tables. But coming to flat file model, they are separate files. They are saved as separate files. You cannot relate one file to another file. When I say relate, which means you cannot combine two files or perform joining of two files and display the data together. All of those things is not possible. If you want to fetch the data from different files, you have to open this file also, and you should also open the other file also. You have to extract it separately. Like the way how in coming to the relational models, what we can do, we can perform joins concept and we can retrieve the data at once. But that's not possible when it comes to flat file model. So relationship between the files is not possible, while here relationship between the tables is possible. These happens to be the difference. In both the ways you can store the data. But what is it, how is it stored, and what way of retrieval you can do is what this is going to be said. Is this clear? Only this thing which you have to be knowing. So relational model, as the word itself says, you will have relationship between the tables and they are saved as tables. But coming to flat file model, they are saved as files. And also there is no relationship between the files. It is not possible. Clear everyone? Only this happens to be with respect to what is flat file model and what is relational model. Ma'am, why are you telling this? Is it required for us to know? Yes, because you might get this question. If you say we store it as tables, why can't you do it in Excel? This question they might ask you in the interview. So Excel happens to be a file at the end. I know it is a tabular form, but it is saved as a file. And you cannot, it is not possible for you to perform joining of two Excels and make it as one Excel. That's all not possible. You have to keep it as separate files itself. This is what you have to be explaining there. Is this clear, everyone? Only this is the thing. So under flat file model, just tell saved in file format and just write files. And also one more point you write. Maybe I can probably write it here. There will be no relationship between the files. And here, there will be relationship between the tables. Got it? Just copy this. Only this is the thing which we were left with. Kindly copy this. Thank you. Completed? Thank you, Chanbasappa. So as the words itself says, flat file. It is just stored in terms of file. Relational model, it's stored in terms of tables. And in the flat files, we cannot have relationship and perform joins. But here, we will have relationship between the tables and we can perform joins. Done? Is it completed? Online students, is it completed? Okay. So even before I start with the questions in HackerRank platform, there are few things which I have to be telling you, which is not present in the workbook, but you should be aware on those things. So I'll be telling that first. So for this topic, we are completed with the concepts, whichever is included in your workbook or with respect to SQL. Okay, so this completes the concept. Again, there are few things which I'll be telling you now extra, which is not there. After that, we'll be solving the questions in the HackerRank. Okay. Not required. Whatever I tell, whatever I solve in the HackerRank. If in case you already have the HackerRank account, simultaneously when we are discussing, you can type there, execute and submit your codes. Okay, those who have laptop, kindly open it once I start explaining. Those who have bought here, and online students, you can keep HackerRank open. So whichever the questions I solve, you can also simultaneously solve it and run those codes. Submit it as well. Okay. Fine. The next thing which you have to be understanding is, listen here. Listen. Say suppose I have one number here. Okay. I have a number like this. Maybe 25.998. I have a number 25.998. Now, what is the question is, maybe they'll ask you to round off this number to the lowest possible integer. They'll ask you to round off this number to the lowest possible integer. Ma'am, what do you mean by this? What I mean by this is, you know that how to round off the number up to specified decimal places. You have understood the round function, you've understood trunc function as well. Remember, in the number functions I have taught you something called round function, which is used to round off the number up to specified decimals. Similarly, there is trunc function. It will also round off, but it will not check whether the next number is greater than or equal to 5. It will not check. It will just truncate the number and it will round it off to the specified decimal place. But now the question is, they'll tell you that, or they're asking you to round off the number to the highest possible integer or sometimes to the lowest possible integer. This is how they will be asking. Okay. So how is it you are going to do is, now if you observe this particular number which is present, don't you think this number is present between the two integers, that is 25 and 26. Are you all getting it? This number, whatever I have here, it is present between the two integers, that is 25 and 26. So for this number, 25.998 is almost near to 26, ma'am. So if we round off with some or the other thing, what is that we will tell later. So it will become 26 because it is very much near to 26. If in case you are thinking like that, no. So for this number, lowest possible integer, lowest possible near integer happens to be 25 and highest possible integer happens to be 26. So if in case they tell round it off to the lowest possible integer, your answer should be what? It should return 25. If in case if they have told round it off to the highest possible integer, your answer should be 26. But how do we achieve this? We are not manually doing it. For that, there are few functions available. There are two functions which are available, which comes under the number functions itself. Because most of the questions in the HackerRank, they have asked you in this way. Round down to the possible integer, round up to the possible integer. In this way, they have asked whatever the result you get. So which means, or how do you get that is, if in case we consider this auditorium, the room in which we are sitting, what do we call this lower part? Floor, right? You call it as floor. Lower part of this particular auditorium, you call it as floor. And this top, we call it as ceiling. We call it as ceiling, right? Yes or no? Similarly, functions here present in order to round off to the highest possible integer and to round off to the lowest possible integer happens to be, the functions are, it is this. In order to round it off to the lowest possible integer, the function happens to be floor. And similarly, in order to round it off to the highest possible integer, the function happens to be c. If I'm giving this number in the floor function, it will round it off to 25. If I'm giving that number in the ceil function, it will round it off to 20. Assume that I have a number like this, 25.001. Now you might think, ma'am, 25.001 is almost near to 25. So it will be rounded to 25 itself. That is not how it is going to work. In case you are telling this number in floor, it will be 25. But if you are giving that number in the ceil function, it will round it off to 26. Is this clear to everyone? This is one thing which you should be knowing about. Here, just kindly make a note of this. If after whatever you have written, functions, is there any space there? You have any space there? One page is there. If it is there, kindly note these two functions there. Kindly note this. Completed? Okay. So why do we use order by clause? Order by clause, why do we use? For sorting, correct? To order the values, to sort the values. I have told you how do we sort the values? We just tell the syntax in this way. We will tell order by column name, which column values we want to sort. And then if we want in the ascending order, we will tell ASC. If we want in the descending order, we tell it as DESC. So that is how sorting happens. But if you remember, I also told you that time, order by clause, you can perform sorting on multiple columns also. It is not just only one column sorting you can do, multiple column sorting also you can do. So to understand how does it does, let me tell, the first sorting, the first priority for sorting will be for the first column which you give. And comma, you can also give second column. The second priority will be for the second column. Like that it goes, multiple columns. Ma'am, how does it work? That is what you have to be understanding now. So in order to tell that, I'll just consider a small example here, a table, and with that I'll be telling you. Let's say, suppose I have one table here like this. Maybe this is the table which is storing the details of the players. What is the score they have scored, their name, and maybe in what time they have made that score with respect to some sport activity. With respect to some sport activity. So I have a column as name, and let's consider I have a column as score, as well as I have one more column as time. Like this I have. Okay. Now there is one person whose name happens to be A, and maybe they have scored 50, and they have scored 50 in 10 minutes. They have scored 50 in 10 minutes. Now there is another person B who have scored 60, maybe in 10 minutes itself they have also scored. Now there is another person C who have scored 50, but in 8 minutes. Are you all getting it? They have scored 50 in 8 minutes. And there is another person D. Maybe they have scored 40, and they have scored 40 in probably 10 minutes. I have some data like this. Okay. I will tell like this. Display the score and time. Name, score, time, or display the score and the time taken by the players, and sort it. Sort the score in the descending order. Highest score followed by lowest score. Then you will write a query like this. You will tell select score, comma time from the table name. Whatever the table name you have, that table name you will give. And you will tell order by score in descending order. This is how you write the query, right? Yes. When you tell like this, what really we are going to get is, we are going to get an output like this, in which we will have one column as score and another column as time. Now, score. Highest score happens to be 60. The time happens to be 10. You know that the columns are interdependent, correct? So 60 and time taken is 10. Next, 50, 10 minutes. Again, we have one more score as 50. In 8 minutes, they have scored. Next, score happens to be 40 and score happens to be 10. Like this, it will be displayed. Sorry, okay. 40 and 10. Yes. Now the question is like this. Write a query to display score and time of the players Those who have scored highest score should be displayed first, followed by the lowest score. But if in case, understand, but if in case there are two players who are having the same highest score, then display based on the less time who have taken for scoring it. They should be displayed first. If in case there are two, more than one player have scored the same score, then based on the time they have taken, who have taken less time, their data you display first, then followed by the more time those who have taken. This is the question. All of you understood the question? So now, based on the score they have taken, you have performed the sorting. This is what you are going to get. Now, they have also told if in case two players are having the same score, then secondary sorting should happen on the time that they have taken. So here in the order by clause, I'll tell first sorting, primary sorting is on the score column. That is the first priority. The second priority should be for which? So you will tell comma. Now secondary sorting should be on the time. Primary sorting is score. Understanding? Primary sorting is on the score. Secondary sorting happens on the time. And who have taken less time should be first, then the highest time. Which means it should be in which order? It should be in the ascending order. Now what happens is, here if you observe with this table, what happens is score. Those who have scored 60. And you might think like this, ma'am, since they have told secondary sorting on the time, so 8 is the lowest value, this should come first. That is not how it is going to happen. Rather, the output for this is going to be what? We are going to have score and time like this. This value will not be affected because primary sorting is there. Primary sorting only after that the secondary sorting will happen. So 60 and that 10 minutes is the time will remain as it is. If there is another person who have scored 60, then it would have checked who have taken it less time. Since there is only one person who have scored 60, that will remain as it is. Next, if you observe, there are two persons who have scored 50. Now it will check when it is the same score. Then it will check the time. Are you all getting it? Now, out of these two who have taken less time, 8. So, what happens is now, first, this 50 and 8 will come first. Then, the score 50, 10 is going to come. And then, as usual, 40 and 10. Like this, the sorting will happen. Ma'am, can we sort on another column? Yes. Then, that column will have, after if in case the two values are same, the next value sorting will happen. So like this, order by clause will work on the multiple columns. You should be knowing this. How order by clause works on multiple columns. First thing, is it possible to perform sorting on multiple column values? Yes, it is. And how does it work? In this way. So in the order by clause, you can just tell order by first column name, which order you want it to be sorted, comma, the second column name, this order in which you want it to be sorted, and then comma third column, which order it is. Like this, you can give the multiple column sorting. But how does it? First, it will perform sorting on the first column which you have given. Then it goes to the second column. Then it goes to the third column. But not randomly it is going to do, because the column values are interdependent. It first checks only if it is in the first column value is same in which you have told sorting. Then it goes for the second value. Like this, the sorting will happen. Understood, everyone? Kindly copy this anywhere if you have place. Online students, did everyone get this? Okay. Akash, floor and seal is nothing but Akash. Floor will round off the number to the lowest integer. Okay. and seal will round off the number to the highest possible integer. It is like integer values. If in case it is a decimal value, then to the possible integer it will round off. The floor to the lowest integer, seal to the highest integer. It will just round off. Completed? Okay then. So started solving. I think already few of you have started solving the questions. Good. Now let us start. Okay, so let us solve. Yes. See this question? Query the sum of populations for all Japanese cities in city. The country code for Japan is JPN. All of you, I hope the question is visible. So look at this. Here, the question is there and the table description is present here. So observing this, we have to solve, and here you have to be selecting which is the database. We are using Oracle, so we will click on Oracle here. This is where we will type the query. Before that, just go through the question and see here. Query the sum of populations for all Japanese cities in city table. The country code for Japan is JPN. This is the question which we have to be solving. Tell me, what should I write here? Select. Okay, select ID. Should I tell ID? What should I tell here? Sum of population. Should I tell sum of population? No. Select all. See, the question is present. The table description is also there here. What is there in the city table? The fields. Fields are nothing but columns. Type is nothing but the data type. That is what is told there. Select star from city. Okay. Select star. Okay, how many of you say I have to tell select star? Raise your hand. Select city. Select district. Okay. Select population. Sum of population. None of you are revising. That is what I can make out. How many of you are saying that I have to tell sum of population? How many of you will say I have to tell select star? Please see there in the question, they have told you to display, query the sum of population, which means you have to display the total population. They have not told you to display all the details. They have told you to display the population, nothing but total population, sum of the population that is present in the Japanese cities. So you know that in order to get the total of the values, we have the aggregate functions. We have one function, that is sum function, which will give you sum of the values, the total of the values. So I am going to tell select sum of population from city table, but There is a condition. What is the condition is? Only to the Japanese cities we want to query it. So we have to give that condition where the country code, is equal to, within single quotes, JPN. Got it, everyone? So now I'll just run this code. Let us check whether it is correct. Before submitting it, run it. Okay. So you can see that it is correct. This query is correct. So now I will just submit this code. So look at this question. Query the name of any student in students, the table, who scored higher than 75 marks. Order your output by the last 3 characters of each name. If 2 or more students have both have names ending in the same last 3 characters, like Bobby, Robbie. If you can observe, like Bobby, Robbie, last 3 characters are ending with the same name. Then secondary sort them by ascending ID. Tell me, how can I do for this? See, there are so many basic questions. I'm not solving that. Okay, very basic questions. Select all the attributes. Select only particular attributes. Those type of questions you yourself can solve it. Okay. Here is where we are using the concept. So I'm choosing these questions. Tell me for this, everyone. Select name, okay, from students, okay. Order by. All of you observe this. Yes. Kindly stop whatever the query you're executing. Stop. Just listen to this. Everyone, observe this particular question here. What is that I want? I want to query the names. So I'll tell select name from, which is the table? Students. Name of the table happens to be students. I will tell. But if you properly observe here, they have told that who have scored higher than 75, which means marks, that condition we have to give, where the marks should be greater than 75. Till here, we can tell properly. It is just that we want the names of the students who have scored more than 75. But after that, they have told, order your output by the last 3 characters of each name. Very good. See, I have to do sorting. But sorting, it's not that they have told to sort it based on the complete name. They have told us to sort based on the last 3 characters of the name. So how can I fetch the last 3 characters? In order to extract something, we know that we have a function that is substring function. Yes. So I am going to tell order by. I am going to tell order by. Now I will not tell complete name. Complete name I don't want to sort. Rather, I will extract the last three characters from the name. So how do I tell that? Name, comma, -3. I can tell -3 or -3, comma 3 also, because -3 means from last three characters, it will extract till the last. Based on this, you sort. So order your output by the last three characters of each name. Then, dear students, so when they have not told what is the order, it will be by default ascending is the order. Then, comma, if there are two students or more than one student ending with the same last three characters, then secondary sort them ascending ID, which means secondary sorting should be based on their ID column. Okay, so when I tell this and try to run this code, if you observe, yes, the query, whatever we have written is correct. All of you observe here properly this particular query, whatever we have written here. Just a minute. So observe it. We have to query the names of any students in the student table who have scored higher than 75. So for that reason, I told select name from students table where marks should be greater than 75. I told that. But coming to the sorting, they have told if two or more students have the same names ending in the last three characters, then you have to secondary sort them based on the ID. Since they have told us to perform sorting on the last three characters, that is why here I have made use of substring function. Because only last three characters I want to extract, and on that I want to do the sorting. So I have told order by substring of name, comma, -3. Why -3? Because we don't know what will be the length of every name there. We will not be knowing. Correct? So that is why I have told name, comma, -3. Because -3, you know that it will come from the reverse order. Reverse order, it will check for the position of the character. And I have not given the length parameter. Why I have not given the length parameter? Because we know that till last, if in case we are not giving the third parameter, it is going to extract the characters till the last. That is why I have told. And if in case you are giving -3, comma 3, that is also correct. Okay. You know that substring works with 2 parameters or 3 parameters. That is what I have told here. And then they have told if in case there are 2 or more students whose names are ending with the same last three character, secondary sort them based on their ID in the ascending order. That is what I have told here as well. So I have told it. As I told, how do you perform sorting on the multiple columns? This is how it is. Did everyone get this? Completely clear? Understood this query? Why I am solving these? Because this will make you understand. It is not just the EMP table, it is not the DEPT table, or it is not just a job grades table. This is how the requirements comes for you. And you have to be writing the queries like this. Are you all getting it? Is it yes? Okay, then I'll keep the class till here today. Okay. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow also, I'll be solving the HackerRank questions for you. Okay. From Monday is when your new technology, that is Python and Selenium, will start. Okay, from Monday. So we are left with 2 more classes. That's tomorrow and day after tomorrow. I'll be coming to your class at 4:30 and I'll be solving the questions on HackerRank. Is this clear to everyone? Okay. Huh? Yeah. I did not get it. Today we completed with all the concepts. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I'll be solving the hack the rank questions. Okay. Well, dear students, so this completes your concepts of SQL, whatever is there for your syllabus. So we have completed with the syllabus. And as I told, we'll be solving the hacker rank questions. I'll be solving the questions on joins as well. Okay, how the questions comes, how the requirement comes in joins and all of that we will be seeing. There are so many questions. Let us all solve it. Kindly carry your laptops if possible. Try to bring it. Okay, so that all of us together hands-on, it will be hands-on. We can do it. Okay, so thank you. Let's all meet in the next class. Mark your attendance and then leave. I'll tell. 1 minute.